So April 23rd, 2025, I experienced my first swarm out of my beehive collection, and I was able to catch it and put it back in the box pretty much. So I want to cover what happened and what my thought process was at different points in that process. But the first thing that happened was that I saw two possums running around in my yard that morning, and so it was kind of a strange sight, a bit of an omen. Here's what it looked like in the backyard. Those are that's the source hive and a hive that I intended to split into, which I was a little bit late, but bees have a way of doing it themselves. So there it is right there. That's the source of the swarm, and you can kind of hear them there. That noise to me in my house sounded like a tap was running in another room, kind of that aerated water sound in the sink from far away. So I went out to see what was going on, and I thought, oh crap, my bees are running off, so I better do something. But I did a lot of watching at first because I'd never seen this happen. So they're flying around looking for a place, looking for the queen really, and she apparently had landed up in this tree, and it's a pine tree behind that redbud tree there that you see, or that crabapple tree, and they kind of clustered in three places in that tree. So there's a big cluster up in the top, there's a little cluster below that, and then there's a tiny cluster down at almost eye level. And I was really lucky that that one was down there. So there's the tree, just to point it out. And here's the three clusters. So there's one about the size of a traffic cone, as I said, one about the size of a football there, and then there was this one. And I didn't know what was going on with this one, so I watched it for a while. And it looked like bees never really stopped coming to this cluster, and they were sort of popping off the cluster that was way up high. So I wondered if maybe there was two queens going on here, and or maybe this was where the queen really was. I had no idea. I watched it for a long time looking for a green dot, which is how my queen was marked, but I did not see any queen there. So I had no chance of getting that top one into a box, but I was able to get this one into a box. And so what I did was I took the nuke that I got my bees from originally, held it underneath that branch, and gave it a big shake. And luckily, almost all the bees fell into the box here. I left that middle frame out so they'd have a place to fall. And I think I must have got a queen in there as well. As you can see, they're doing their signaling with the pheromones and the flapping of the wings there to spread it out. And so there was a queen in this one, I have no doubt. However, I was not sure about that upper cluster and how to get that out. So what I did was I got I have a telescopic metal pole that I use to clean out the gutters. It shoots water into the gutter. And I was able to get that, position it right under the branch where that upper cluster was. And, put my head down and thought about it for a while. What am I doing? And then gave that branch a big shake. And luckily, most of those bees, they flew around, but they picked up on this other hive. So I think the queen, must be in there, right? Because the bees are staying there. And I have no idea what they were doing in that upper cluster. And so once that upper cluster broke, it looked like this. And I was thinking, oh man, I'm going to need a bigger box. So the bees are already out, they're already doing stuff, they're already pretty docile because they're doing their swarm, and so I thought it was a good time to get them into their permanent home, which is an 8-frame deep box. So you can see here, I transferred them frame by frame over into this bigger box. I did see the queen in the bottom of that nuke box running around with the green dot, so it was the original mated queen from the first hive, which is awesome. I'm glad to have her around still. Some people like to get rid of their queens and do all kinds of stuff, but I just kind of let nature run its course. So I got the original one into this box. All the other bees followed. You can see here they're doing their, call for their sisters to come. That's kind of what it looked like. Once they figured it out, she's in there. Let's all go in there, guys. And so that's the signaling going on. You see somebody left with bags of pollen, so they packed well. And here's just a picture of a queen, or not a queen, but just a a worker bee taking a break and getting some dandelion juice or pollen in the middle of all this activity. So it's always nice to have your dandelions going. And this is the final image. So now we have two hives. The original hive is on the left there. They're doing their thing, and the new hive is, they're getting situated in there. So thanks for watching.